Welcome everyone to the 80th Celebrity Synastry chart reading, where I will be looking into Nicola Coughlan and Eamon Farren. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Adeline and it's so nice to meet you. For those new and returning, I take notes on a Synastry chart looking at the personal planet science aspects and birth times available house overlays. I share these notes and add my extra insights and interpretations along the way. So if that sounds good to you, subscribe and click the bell to join us weekly, and let's get into it. Just a note before we start this reading, with Eamon Farren, commenters have let me know that he did have his birth time. He spoke about his birth time in an interview. So that is where we get the birth time for him. His birth time, from what I have, is 11 p.m, 13:11, depending what time you use. But as just the birth time, commenters let me know that he, was born. So that is what we're going to be using for Eamon's birth time. Just wanted to clear that up because I have not been able to find it just like on a Google search, just normally. So that is, where we got it from. Starting off with the sun, we have Nicola's sun in Capricorn and Eamon's sun in Taurus. These are both earth signs. They are a good team and they feel they can rely on each other. They prioritize practical matters and they have similar philosophical and intellectual thoughts. They both need to take time to enjoy life and not be so serious. So I wonder if they just focus on their careers more than they do each other. Nicola's sun overlaid in Eamon's 5th house. They have creative and fun dates, and Eamon enjoys the adoration from Nicola. Eamon has a great love for Nicola, and they have a desire to have children together. I'm not even sure if they are actually in a relationship, let alone a serious one, but we'll see more maybe. Nicola defines beauty according to Eamon, and Nicola may be overlooking Eamon's flaws. It's characterized by luck and pleasure, and Nicola sees Eamon as a source of pleasure. Nicola's sun trine Eamon's moon. There is honest communication, and Nicola relies on Eamon's support. It's a naturally cooperative relationship, and they both feel they can rely on each other, which we did see right in the beginning. It makes sense. They do seem to be more practical minded. Eamon tends to be dependent on Nicola. Nicola's sun square Eamon's Venus. Their views on the world clash, and it's not as promising as it looks. Love can easily turn into hate, and they have arguments over money. Nicola is selfishly ambitious. I don't like seeing this. This is a bit... Eamon strives to keep the relationship balanced, and they both hope to find what they are looking for in the other. I'm a bit suspicious on Nicola's end what she is looking for. Eamon's sun opposite Nicola's Venus. Their values conflict, so there definitely seems to be conflict when it comes to the world views. It seems like they frustrate each other and Nicola grows to resent Eamon. Nicola sees Eamon as too dictatorial, and Nicola can play games with Eamon. She's interesting. She's become a very interesting character now. Eamon needs to learn to accept Nicola, and hard work is needed to make this work. I feel like definitely, especially if love can easily turn into hate. That's not a great position to be in. Eamon will either not appreciate Nicola or take her for granted. Eamon's sun sextile Nicola's Mars. They motivate each other and they give each other space. I'm not really surprised of giving each other space, unfortunately. They have different hobbies, and Eamon admires Nicola's strive. This is also a twitch concerning, because if Nicola is selfishly ambitious and Eamon admires that, that is a bit of it's a bit concerning. It's a bit of a fine line. They can further the other's goals, and they both give the other confidence. They participate in activities together, and they are straightforward with each other. Neither feels blocked, and they tend to get annoyed with each other. There definitely seems to be a fine line they're treading in this relationship.
Now for the intermission. This video is brought to you by me, my Etsy store, Adeline the Astrologer. If you ever watch this and think, hey, I would like her to read my Synastry chart, well, I will. I do personalized Synastry readings on my Etsy store, both basic and detailed. The basic one is very simple to understand. It's not overwhelming at all. It's pretty good for those that are beginners to astrology, just getting the head around astrology, or just as a fun gift idea. The detailed one is just like what I do on my channel, just a lot of insight and interpretation on your chart. So if you are interested in that and everything else astrology and tarot related, readings and gifts, then definitely check out my Etsy store. Links are below. I'm always releasing new things, so definitely check it out if you're interested. You can even just favorite the store just to show your support for free. Thanks for listening, and let's get back to the reading.
So now it's time for Moon. Both their moons are in Taurus, so it's a stable relationship. I feel like in terms of like their careers, if that makes sense, like I feel like in a practical sense, yes. They are content with each other and they have similar emotional needs, and they both find security and material. So I wonder if like their careers take a, first priority for both of them. Nicola's moon overlaid in Amon's 8th house. Amon can go deep into Nicola's psyche. I wonder if that is why she feels he's too dictatorial. Maybe she feels like he reads her into things too much, if that makes sense. They both act out fantasies together. I mean, they both are actors. I'm not sure if they've ever acted in anything together, but that is there. Amon can awaken Nicola's inner demons, and there is a deep connection. It's an emotionally nurturing relationship, which I feel like would be easier if they have similar emotional needs. And not detached in that way, that would help. Desire for the other is never satiated. I wonder in what way. Possibility for them to come back together after a separation. Their moons are conjunct together, so they are intuitive with each other. Seems to be particularly on Amon's end. They both have in-tune moods and they accept each other's feelings. They like to support each other and tendency to get passive-aggressive. I don't really like this element of like this sort of fine line between like good and bad. It's just a bit. Nicola's moon square Amon's Jupiter. There's a tendency to be extreme and excessive, and they are too optimistic as a couple. I mean, we did see it's not as promising as it looks, so it makes sense. Poor judgment can lead to trouble, and they both will learn better judgment. You hope so. They both feel free with their emotions, so it seems like emotionally they are pretty good together. There's a failing to keep promises, and it's a relationship about determining boundaries. Nicola may become possessive of Amon, and they meet in an optimistic way. She's an interesting one here. I mean, it's a very interesting relationship so far. Nicola's moon opposite Amon's Saturn. They are attracted to each other because of their different views. That's not the best. It's never great, especially when it's things like, it brings the actual problems in their relationship, the differences, and that is what they're attracted to. It's yikes. Both have something the other needs. Yeah, I don't like this practical element of the relationship. It seems like they both are kind of not using each other, but they both benefit from each other in, different ways, which if it works for them, I guess, who cares? But, that is their difficult emotional connection. I wonder if it is maybe because the practical relationship overtakes everything, maybe in that way. Amon tries to influence Nicola, and Amon sees Nicola as needy and immature. Nicola needs to be more independent from Amon. This is a bit odd, like considering we've seen the element of Nicola being selfishly ambitious. I mean, we did just see that Nicola can become possessive of Amon, so potentially if they are in like a relationship, potentially Amon just like wants his space. We did see that they both want their space. But potentially Nicola wants it a bit less, maybe. Amon's moon trine Nicola's Mercury. They are comfortable talking to each other about everything, and it's a harmonious relationship. Nicola enjoys being emotionally nourished by Amon, and Nicola provides a foundation for Amon's feelings. Amon is comfortable expressing his feelings with Nicola. Yeah, I feel like emotionally they seem to be pretty good. I feel like what we saw, that the difficult emotional connection, that one note, I feel like that kind of is being overtaken by all these other more positive emotional notes. Amon's moon sextile Nicola's Jupiter. They have good fortune and they are a popular couple. They have honest communication and it's likely for them to support charities. That is there. I'm not sure if they have ever done anything together, but that is there. Maybe even privately they could. Excessiveness could be an issue and they have an intellectual understanding. So now it's time for Mercury. We have Nicola's Mercury in Capricorn and Amon's Mercury in Taurus. These are both earth signs. They prioritize their practical daily matters. Yeah, it seems like they very much prioritize their careers. Like in terms of like we're seeing literally they prioritize practical things. It is a practical relationship. But also like we're seeing they both want their space from each other. And also we saw that Nicola is selfishly ambitious. That's a weird thing. So that's there. Their relationship can get stale easily and they accomplish goals together. Both tend to neglect their relationship. Yeah, I feel like, emotionally wise, it seems to be pretty great. That seems to be there. Nicola's Mercury overlaid in Amon's 5th house. Nicola is like the sun to Amon, and Nicola makes Amon's day. They both encourage each other, and it is not a boring relationship, and they have easy communication. Nicola's Mercury square Amon's Venus. They find each other interesting and attractive, and mundane communication is difficult. I see this in terms of, we've already seen a couple notes where there can tend to be a fine line between, love, hate, passive aggressive. So I feel like in terms of that, it would be difficult to just have a normal straight conversation without like falling off the line, if that makes sense. Exchanging ideas is a source of conflict, and they have frequent disagreements. Surprisingly so. They need to learn to listen to each other, and they have a difference in music taste. Amon's Mercury trine Nicola's Neptune. Nicola inspires Amon's imagination, and they get each other. They share an appreciation for the arts, which I feel like is a good thing, but also if the prioritization of careers is the downfall, because, I feel like if they are both genuinely like into the whole acting thing and it is an art for them, because in the sense that they are like, theatre type children, they're not like in acting for the fame of it, it's for the genuine passion and all of that. So if they do both really appreciate that, they're obviously going to prioritize their careers. They are forgiving of each other, which would help with a lot of things, I imagine. Amon's Mercury opposite Nicola's Pluto. They challenge each other to think more deeply, and intensity can be too much. I feel like on Nicola's end, which we saw like how she might feel a bit like violated, I believe, like, Eamon is very intuitive of her and everything and can really read her well. I feel like in that way the intensity could be too much. Issues can stick for too long, and Eamon feels limited by Nicola. So there definitely seems to be an element on Eamon's end. He doesn't feel like he's getting, I guess, the space he wants from Nicola. Eamon feels Nicola pushes her beliefs onto him. That's not great. Nicola may be demanding of Eamon's secrets. So now it's time for Venus. We have Nicola's Venus in Sagittarius and Amon's Venus in Aries. These are both fire signs. They fall in love impulsively, and the relationship starts quickly. Neither take the time to get to know each other. This isn't really surprising considering everything we have seen. It does feel like they did just jump into this, but I don't think we've seen anything in terms of like meeting yet, so hopefully we'll see a bit more to get more insight. They give each other space, definitely, but not so much on Nicola's, and it seems like it's a stimulating relationship, and they inspire each other and they have fun together. This, I feel like they would inspire to each other in terms of like their actual like, careers and I guess the craft of their career. Nicola enjoys sharing her ideas with Amon. Maybe that is where Amon feels like she pushes her beliefs onto him. Like if she just really enjoys sharing her ideas, and like that's a bit awkward if he interprets that as like pushing beliefs onto him. Neither of them feel tied down, and they easily have heated fights that die down quickly. Not surprisingly so. I feel like that is where, like, because we did see a note before, like, they can be a bit extreme. I feel like there definitely is, like, a fine line in terms of, like, jumping into love-hate. If that makes sense, I feel like that can swing very easily with these two. Nicola's Venus overlaid in Amon's 3rd house. Nicola is more comfortable around Amon, and they are good friends. They could definitely be friends. Like, we haven't seen anything in terms of, like, marriage or domestic life or anything, so these could just be, like, very good friends. Nicola sees Amon as easily approachable, and they trust each other. Nicola makes Amon happy, and there is easy and natural communication. Amon's Venus trine Nicola's Saturn. Nicola stabilizes Amon's emotions, and there is a strong commitment. The strong commitment thing I believe we have seen, but also with, like, the whole emotional thing. We did see how Amon is quite comfortable expressing her feelings with Nicola, so I assume obviously in conversations she would be able to stabilize those emotions. They sacrifice for each other, and they see the relationship as everlasting. They help each other in career, not surprisingly so. I feel like they both, like, I'm a record player now. It seems like they both prioritize their careers though. Amon admires Nicola's strength, so he seems to really admire her sort of like her drive, her strength, her sort of ambition, you could say. So now it's time for Mars. We have Nicola's Mars in Aries and Amon's Mars in Gemini. They are both impulsive and live in the moment, so there definitely seems to be impulsivity is a big sort of like, I guess, drive. drive, is that the right word? I feel like it's a part of the relationship. Nicola is easily irritated with Eamon. Nicola's Mars overlaid in Aemon's 7th house. Nicola speeds up their relationship. There definitely seems to be an element of like Nicola really pushing the relationship, like, you know, in terms of like, you know, not giving enough space, and like Aemon kind of wants a bit less. But also we did just see how she sees Aemon as easily approachable. Maybe she was the one that initiated things. Nicola is calmer around Aemon, and Nicola wants to please Aemon. They both enjoy spending time together. Nicola's Mars square Aemon's Neptune. Circumstances in meeting were never understood by one of the partners, and they need honesty to make this work. I don't feel like we've seen anything like honesty wise. I feel like that seems to be fine. We haven't seen anything particular with dishonesty. But I feel like the circumstances in meeting, that is a bit like of an off one, isn't it? Because like all we've seen is like they're impulsive and the relationship starts very quickly, but also potentially that Nicola initiated the relationship. So maybe on like Aemon's end, he's not sure how it happened. Aemon's Mars squared Nicola's Jupiter. They meet in a fun way. Nicola sees Aemon as selfish. Not surprisingly so. She seems to be a lot more invested in this relationship than Aemon, which is kind of like sad. Like, if I can be honest, like this relationship, like there's nothing to indicate anything in terms of this is a very serious relationship. I think in the beginning we did see one though they have a desire to have children together, but that's the only thing we have seen, I feel like that is pretty safely overpowered by everything else. It seems like Nicola is the one that is a bit more trying to make this a relationship, like, because overall, like, we've seen more friends than more serious notes in this relationship. So it is a bit, you know, I feel like, you know, maybe Nicola is a bit more into Aemon than Aemon is into Nicola. And potentially if Nicola is very invested in this relationship and giving a bit more than Aemon, you would kind of see him as selfish, wouldn't you? Aemon sees Nicola's logic as hindrance. I mean, this would be in terms of like their different views on things, so that's up. They encourage each other to be reckless, and Nicola may be a bad influence on Aemon. Aemon's Mars opposite Nicola's Saturn. They both will discover what they want from a relationship. I hope so, particularly on Nicola's end. Nicola finds Aemon's energy attractive. Nicola finds Aemon's energy attractive initially, and they have a difference in views. We're seeing again. Nicola becomes annoyed with Aemon's childishness. I would assume, I'm not sure where like he would be childish. We haven't actually really seen a lot like in terms of that. The only way maybe he's not as like committed or like mature and serious about things. That's all I can think of for Nicola. Nicola tries to control Aemon, and Aemon becomes rebellious to Nicola. This is not a great ending to this reading at all, is it? Aemon feels like he's always being watched by Nicola. That's not great. He seems to be feeling a bit trapped here. So that was the final aspect, bringing us to the end of the reading. If you are still watching, please share your thoughts below. I would be very curious to see what you guys have to say about this one. Not the best ending in terms of, it seems like it is one of those situations like, you know, he's just not that into you in that way anyway. It seems like they are good friends, but I feel like, you know, Nicola seems to, especially like the turn we took at the end, it seems like Nicola wants a bit more from this relationship than Aemon, which is, you know, it is what it is, I guess, but that's how I interpreted it. If you guys interpreted it differently, let me know in the comments below. If you have made it this far, please consider subscribing for more. I post these readings weekly. Besides that, give this video a like, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!